Hi, I'm Jason Gorber for ThatShelf.com, and we are here to look at Wes Anderson's latest, The Phoenician Scheme, from here at the 2025 Cannes International Film Festival.
Big change.
So, Wes Anderson's got a new movie, and you know what that means. It means that we're in for a treat, a little bit of a puzzle box, a little bit of a flight of whimsy. And basically how it all is going to come together, as per usual, is you're going to have something sumptuous with an incredible cast, all committed to putting together his own sense of weirdness and beauty. And you're either in for it or you're not. I've said this forever. Films are not for everybody. Not every film is for everybody. Some films, if you don't dig, you just don't like movies, which is totally fine. But Wes Anderson is like, I totally get it, take it or leave it kind of guy in terms of the shtick. And there definitely is a shtick. There definitely is this sense of immaculately designed worlds that you're sort of entering into, a very sort of theatrical, like assembly of incredible talent, all telling a story that often feels almost frivolous compared to the frivolity actually taking place on screen. What's really interesting about Phoenician Scheme is literally there in the title, the whole notion of there being a scheme, a sort of plot, these literal shoeboxes where they have to put all this stuff together in order to do some grand economic vision of the redevelopment, or development for that matter, of something that involves ships and trains and transportation, weird like 18th century like oligarchs getting together, but feels like they could be building an AI farm, which is from another movie. None of that really matters. It basically MacGuffinizes the title itself. The Phoenician Scheme becomes the least interesting thing in the Phoenician Scheme. What's truly interesting is the dynamic essentially of a father and a daughter. You have this incredible cast led by Benicio del Toro, who's just killing it. He's just absolutely phenomenal as this very almost immortal seemingly rich dude who, you know, despite the fact that everybody seems to want to kill him repeatedly, whether by plane or otherwise, continues to be to have those above in the celestial space give him yet another chance in order to work out whatever it is he's doing. And one of those things that he's doing is working things out with his daughter. We have a whole bunch of A-listers all coming together here, as per usual, the Tom Hankses, the Cranstons, etc. Bill Murray as God, because of course. And I wrote this in my written review. From the opening moments where you see typeface elegantly put on top of floor tile, while you're looking down upon Benicio having a bath and getting scrambled eggs, you're like, what world am I living in that this is not only the most ridiculous cinematic moment, but one of the most beautiful I've ever seen. The way that the typeface integrates with the floor tiles, the way the scrambled eggs look so amazing, the way you just kind of want to have a bath and sort of bathe in everything that it is that Wes Anderson and his production colleagues actually put together. This is another story by him and Roman Coppola. Wes wrote the script himself, shot in Germany. Tons of masterpieces line the walls. Very carefully constructed sort of milieu for everything to sort of work out here. But what it is, in the end, is just another glorious exemplar of one of the most iconic filmmakers to ever set his eyes on the cinematic canvas. And again, I love this stuff. I'm a total sucker for it. I get it. I have a cat named Zissou. But I think it's easy for us to become complacent about that this kind of film is being made, first of all. Equally as complacent for those that just think they're going to get yet another Wes Anderson movie and there's not going to be too much different than from what we had before. are completely doing injustice to this film. This is something to dive into. Emotionally, it's got some great beats. Narratively, its playfulness, on the one hand, is dismissive. On the other hand, I think on repeated viewing would actually allow you to dive into it. I think a lot of people saw something like Asteroid City maybe once and just thought, there's not much there. There's tons there. I think a lot of people saw French Dispatch and were overwhelmed by the narrative jumps and just thought, there's too much, c'est trop. I think this one, they're gonna look at it and think there's not enough. That it's even too much of an amuse-bouche, too much of like an appetizer for another deeper movie somehow. And yet I found myself completely around. Sure, some of its pacing dips a little bit towards the end when you sort of figure out where it's going, how it's all navigating. But it's such a lovely world to visit. It is such an inviting world to visit. There's so many films, so many projects where you try to do things subtle, slow cinema, quiet cinema, whatever. And people are sort of discouraged to think too carefully about what's actually taking place outside the frame. This one it doesn't even pretend that there's anything outside the frame. You're living inside those shoeboxes. You're living inside the very, very structured and careful visions that Anderson actually brings upon you. Each frame being a framed canvas. Each element of the film being something completely structured in such a way that you're just invited to just gaze. But beyond the visuals, you have this deep emotional depth between all of these characters taking place. Concerns about faith, concerns about what it is to be a family, concerns about what it's like to have a son that keeps launching flaming crossbow bolts at you. Because fundamentally this film is hilarious. There's moments of just joy. I found myself having sore muscles from smiling so much. So even when it's just unfolding, there's a sense of just sheer cinematic pleasure watching something like this. And to see it on the giant screen, to see it with an audience, some of whom are not necessarily going along for the ride, is just one of the thrills. As long as I watch movies, I will be watching films by Wes Anderson. He fills me with such incredible joy. And there are a few films he's made that's nearly as joyous as Phoenician Scheme. I desperately look forward to watching it again, to live in this world again. We don't need to decide where it fits in the grand rank of all Wes Anderson's films. It's almost like every time you see it, you'll have to sort of pit it against all the other ones. We all know it's Life Aquatic. But the fact of the matter is that with this one in particular, it feels at first slight. But I think in the end, as we revisit, as we go back and actually navigate all the elements, as we take on the hand grenades in fruit crates, as we take on the investigation of bugs, as we celebrate Michael Cera's completely bonkers performance, as we have a discovery. I mean, we have an actress who's been there in a few things, but she's so transcendent as a daughter. All of those things all coming together in one glorious, glorious package that is the Phoenician Scheme. Something absolutely not to be missed, and certainly one of the best films here at Cannes 2025. For thatshelf.com, I'm Jason Gorber. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, follow us on social media, and we will see you next video. All the best. Take care.